And I think that if you look at the patient experience, there's another interesting aspect of this. So what I didn't tell you, and if you look at this picture, you can kind of see it. I got to get in camera here. Stop that. I thought I turned this off. Okay. So if you look at this, what you're seeing is that big screen that I told you about that has a camera on it, of course. And then over to the right, thank you. Over here, there is a second screen. And on that second screen, that's where the doctor can see the results of the blood pressure measurement or the EKG or whatever instrumentation is being done. Now, it doesn't end there because that screen that the doctor has is the same screen that the patient has. So that means that the patient has full transparency into what's going on during that visit. Think about a typical visit, right? If I know you're a doctor, but let's pretend you're a patient for a moment. If I need to look in your eyes, do an ophthalmoscopic examination, right? That's fine, except you have no idea what I'm looking at, right?
Right.
I'm looking in your ears. You have no idea. You have no visibility in what I'm looking at. And so what we're doing now is we're saying, you should be able to see this. It's your body, right? So you're seeing a screen, and you can see just what I'm seeing. You can see the inside of your ear. You can see the inside of your mouth. Anything I'm doing, you can see it as well. So this is patient-centered, patient-focused in that way. I'm not saying it couldn't be better. I'm sure there are a lot of things that we will do better as we move forward on this. But I think that's an exciting part of it. And as you know, probably from when Dave spoke, one of the things I really believe in is transparency in the healthcare system. So letting patients see their records online, because of course it's your information, you have a right to see it, is part of that. But letting you see your examination in this way is another part of that transparency, opening it up to you, not making it a mystery.
So you really have otoscopes that you can project from, like onto a screen?
Yeah, and it turns out there are a lot of electronic instruments you can plug into this. We don't make those, by the way. Those are already out there. Yeah. And as you know, there are electronic stethoscopes that many doctors are using now anyhow because it amplifies what they're hearing. So we plug in electronic stethoscopes, otoscopes, ophthalmoscopes, dermatoscopes. I'm using medical lingo. I'm sorry, guys. But we can almost do anything. We can even do ultrasounds through this. So really, many medical equipment can be made with an electronic output, and we're able to utilize that.
Wow, that sounds really cool. Do you have a beta site or a place where this is all functioning, where you can go into this virtual clinic and see all of this on the screen and have the assistant use an otoscope on you and then see your eardrum and all that? Is that all set up and running?
It is running. We have a number of sites around the world that are doing that, yeah.
Where's the closest one to me? I'm in D.C.
You're in D.C.?
I'm in D.C.
So probably RTP? Yeah, North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay, cool. It sounds really interesting. So another question do we have from the chat room? Go ahead.
Actually, I'm a little curious about the operator, the person that's doing the exam. It sounds like someone who's got to be skilled in ultrasound, maybe using an ophthalmoscope, detecting a surgical abdomen. This isn't someone who's like already exists. Like, is there special training involved?
So that's an interesting question. The question is about, who is the attendant that's in these units. And in theory, we can take someone who is a, high school graduate even, with no special other training, someone who's hopefully good with customers, with patients, and we can show them how to use some of this equipment, and they can be up and running. And we've done that in other countries. In the U.S., we have a regulation from the it's the FDA, right? Yes, the FDA, that we have to have someone who's trained in some area of medicine, so a medical assistant, for example, at least. A licensed health professional, thank you. Licensed health professional, I always forget the terminology. So that could be a medical assistant or anybody on up from there. So that's the training that's necessary, and then they need some additional training so they can use this technology. Now, you're absolutely right about one thing, which is that although some of this stuff we can teach you in a few minutes, I can't teach someone like this to do an ultrasound in a half a day or in a few hours. So to the extent that we'll, in some settings, be using ultrasounds or echocardiograms or even other things, you may need special training in that particular kind of instrumentation.
So would you need to partner with other companies that manufacture ultrasounds, for example, or is that the hospital or the buyer of the technology's issue? You know what I mean?
The buyer of the technology chooses. We give you a base set of instruments, and we don't make those, by the way. Those are all already manufactured. But we give you a base set of instruments. If you have special things you need to bring in, then the buyer would pay for those things.
And how does this work with the telepresence technology that you have? It seems like another iteration of it almost.
So what Cisco Health Presence is it's a way of using this wonderful telepresence technology, which honestly has changed my life, which is a business tool. It allows people to connect in this high-definition, immersive way. And it takes this and it wraps around it a platform that allows us to deliver healthcare. So one can use telepresence out of the box to do things like counseling, education, mental health counseling, probably even other things that I'm just not thinking of right now, but it's those sorts of things where you sort of just have to interact with someone. They have to see you ideally. However, if you wanted to do other things, if you wanted to do other types of care, then what you're going to want to do is you would want to have a real healthcare platform. If you want to connect to an electronic medical record, do the vital signs acquisition, do the physical examination. So one is just telepresence. Then we add on to it the rest of this that we saw in the picture, and it's health presence.
So looking towards the next few years, what do you expect from a rollout perspective? Who's going to be, who will have your technology? Where will it be located? How many people will have it? What do you think will happen there?
Well, I can't make concrete forecasts for.
Well, why not?
But I will tell you that people are very interested in this technology. And just stepping back to telepresence, just to use an analogy, telepresence is one of those things that I can describe for people watching this. And until one experiences it, you can't get it. It's like love.
I'm in love with it. I'm still in love with it. I experienced it last year at HIMSS.
See?
And Francis knows. I've been thinking about it ever since. I interviewed John Halamka in telepresence, and the immersive experience was pretty impressive. It really felt like I was right there. It was memorable.
As soon as you do it, you just all of a sudden get it. And I think that health presence is like that too. And that people, as soon as they start experiencing this and they understand, all of a sudden their minds go, oh yeah, I see where we can use this. So I think that we're going to see a proliferation of places where they're going to be buying this, they're going to be implementing it, and it's going to be all these different use cases that we described, and some that I haven't even thought about yet. Because we're going to be the other thing we can do with this is we can do three-way consultations. I can bring in two doctors at different sites and connect to that patient. Right? We can have many different patient sites, many different doctor sites. We already see a lot of healthcare organizations are interested in this. Health plans are interested in this. So I think it's very exciting. And I think that where we will eventually go is we'll have a whole suite of tools that provide care for different settings in acute environments, less acute environments. There'll be different customizations of health presence. It's going to be a very exciting time for us, and I think we're going to be very busy keeping up with everything.
We have time. Yeah, I think we're going to have to wind down, but okay. That was so fascinating. And Danny Sands, thank you so much for coming
welcome.
On the show here, the show with all of our Ustream audience. I'm Dr. Val Jones, of course, from Better Health, and we thank you for your attention. Keep asking those questions, and we will be back in 3 minutes with our next interview.
Thanks, Val.